All right, welcome. Today, Tim and I sit down with Luke Marks, our longtime project manager here at Reisinger Build.
We talked to him about what brought him to us, his experiences here, and some of his favorite things about being a project manager at Reisinger Build.
Yeah, something I found interesting about this conversation was him talking about him building his own house and all the work that he put into it himself was really impressive.
Yeah, he's a very skilled guy.
Yeah. Okay, on today's episode, we are chatting with Luke Marks, who's one of the project managers here at Reisinger Build. He's been with us quite some time.
Yeah. We were talking earlier about the fact that you've been here longer than any employee in the company, other than Matt and I, of course, but probably worked on more projects than anyone else in the company. Have lots of experience, and I appreciate your contribution and your enthusiasm over the years. But what we really don't know that much about is what led you to us. What's the story about Luke before Reisinger Built? Tell us a little bit about that.
So I grew up in the area from Buda, and I lived in a family. My dad was very much I don't want to say DIYer, but we did everything ourselves. Like, he built his houses, never was a home builder, but built the houses we always lived in. I think he did 3 or 4, and I have 2 older brothers and a younger sister. And as we grew up, we were kind of a labor crew for him, basically. So, like, we moved out to where they still currently live when I was 15, and we built that whole house, and it was on a pretty big piece of property. So we were laying pavers for driveways and building the house and building cabinets and doing all that stuff. None of us did it professionally, but he had his hand in a lot of stuff. And so as I finished high school, went to college. I got a finance degree because I thought working in the banking system would make me a lot of money and be fun. And after that, I went to I got a job at a mortgage bank during the recession, and I worked on real estate that the bank had foreclosed on. And it was a horrible job. It was fine. It was fine. It made me money and all that, but it was like you show up 8 o'clock in the morning to a desk, work for 2 hours, just punching keys, go take a walk. Come back, punch 2 hours on keys, go to lunch. And then I did that for
Rinse and repeat, as they say.
Yeah, 3 years. And then what the worst part about it was, then it became when those banking systems were kind of falling in 2008 and 9, we would get these big emails, and we had like 1,000 employees at this branch. And it wasn't really like a typical bank branch. It was just offices. And you were either on the small list or you're on the big list. And the small list was getting laid off, and the big list was staying. And then, so we did that for, 18 months, like every 2 months you'd get that. And some of the people that were on the small list were now working back again. So they just got laid off and then rehired and back. And so it was
chaos.
No real rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah.
You just never knew. And living like that really, like, I don't know, it's just unsettling. You just don't know what to plan for. I really didn't like the job anyways. Well, one day, I was on the short list.
Yeah.
So we go in, and they were getting rid of dissolving our whole department. And they offered us jobs, some of us jobs, to do something else. And I decided this wasn't for me. I took my little severance and said, I'm going to go do something else. And so, during that time, I also bought my first house, and it was a complete gutter that I gutted out and redid and lived.
And that you were doing it evenings and weekends?
Evenings and weekends.
Yeah.
While you were living there?
So,
wow.
Who would do that?
I think I was 20 years old.
You?
I was 24 years old, single guy, didn't need much. And in this house, there's a 3-bedroom house. There was 1 bedroom that was okay. So I closed the door to that, and I had an inflatable mattress. And that was my sanctuary. All my clothes, everything was in there. Yeah. And then when I'd get ready to go to work, I mean, open the door, close the door behind me, walk through my construction site out the door, don't touch anything. Yeah. And when I'd get home, then the work would start. And then my dad would come over every Friday and we'd spend the whole weekend hitting it hard. I'd kind of get ready. Almost my whole week was kind of getting ready for the weekend, where I was going to make a push every weekend. Yeah. And so I did all that, and it took us about 3 or 4 months. And then I got a guy in that worked with me to come rent with me. So he paid to have my mortgage. And I kept working. And then I got laid off, and decided I didn't want to keep doing that. And I jumped around from a few different jobs. I worked for a golf course doing events, which was a total, I'd never done like the service industry. I never did like waiting or bartending. And that was kind of in that I don't know what you'd call it, that genre of work. And actually the owner of the golf course paid me very well, probably the most money I'd ever made in my life. It was kind of ridiculous what he was paying me. And it was, I mean, I got paid hourly.
Open, by the way?
You know, I got paid hourly, and I felt bad about claiming all the hours I worked because it was just like the checks, like he can't continue to do this to me, or else I'm gonna, you know, whatever. And I found out that lifestyle it's a tough lifestyle because you were working a lot at late nights and stuff. And at that time, I had met now my wife, and I realized like I just wasn't for me to be out there till, you know, working an event and coming home at 2 a.m.
Right.
And it's just not that it wasn't fun, but I could tell like this could, like, in a long run, you can be one of these guys is like, that's what you are. And I didn't want to be that.
Yeah.
And so, at that time, Ryan Pica, who worked for Reisinger at the time, so he's married to my sister's married to his brother. So we know each other. We weren't great friends or anything, but he knew of me. We see each other at our nieces and nephews' birthday parties and whatnot. And he said, you want to come help me out? And so I said, yeah. So I came and interviewed with Matt. I don't know if I interviewed with you at the time. And I kind of got hired as Ryan's assistant project manager.
Right.
And kind of a labor guy too. So I would help Ryan out when he needed help, and then go and help at different jobs doing different things. Because through my experience of, not professionally, just through what I've done, I kind of had a well-rounded of, you know, you need me to go glue a pipe together, I can go glue a pipe together. You want me to go build a little something, I can go build a little something. So I did that for a while, and then it just progressed. And that was, I think, almost 10 years ago. And now we're here.
That's wild.
Yeah. That's a great trip. Usually those roundabout trips are common in our industry, but those employees that we find that have taken that trip around the employment world are the best employees because they found their niche.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that you know, your story about growing up, working with your dad, building your own houses. I too grew up in a house that was being built as I lived in it. Mm-hmm. My dad, not a home builder, he was an engineer, did the same thing, and didn't know it at the time, but it definitely has a big effect on sort of your development as a person, and how you see things and what you're willing to put up with living in a house. That's like
my dad was a metal fabricator and an electrician, so same kind of thing rubbed off on me.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing it did is it just taught me that I've got two hands. I can do anything anybody else can do. Yeah. Right? Like, it's just a matter of trying to learn how to do it and taking your time to do it and figure it out, whether it be carpentry work or whatever. It's like, yes, there's artistic skills to a lot of it that some people have or don't have or whatever. But man, if somebody else can do it, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I can do that. Yeah. Like, there's no reason. And we would never call anybody to do anything. It was like, you know, the toilet's broken, you don't call a plumber, you just fix it and
figure it out.
Because we didn't my dad worked for the post office, and he had somehow amazingly has developed, he's acquired great property and worked his butt off and doing stuff, and it's all because of his work ethic and getting there on your own type thing. Not just not enough money to buy it all, just made it for himself, I guess.
Sweat equity.
Yeah. Those postal workers, they make a ton of money.
Oh yeah. But he always told me, man, it's a consistent job, and I had too many kids when I was young, and I didn't have time to not make money. So and he always had little side businesses too. Nothing ever did, wonderful, but enough to kind of get you through.
That's great. So great story.
Let's talk a little bit about when you started here at Reisinger. I obviously was not around then, but I'm curious. We talk about our process a lot, and we are always striving to do better and refine the way that we do things. And not to say that we didn't do it right back then, but I'm curious just the different process that Reisinger Build had when you started versus now. How do you see that?
I would say it's probably more like a lack of process that they had when I first started. It was more of an individualized, this project manager's doing this home his way, and this project manager's doing his home this way. When I first got interviewed, we went to an office the office we had before the current one, and it was not, it made me have second doubts when I walk in. I was like, this is a premier builder.
It was a mechanics garage.
It was a mechanics garage that had one little office.
The one on Burnett?
Yeah. Had one little kind of office. I think that actually, I don't even think the main office.
That wasn't an office. That was an igloo cooler we made out of 2-inch polyurethane foam.
And I think there's 4 or 5 desks in there. And like you get in there, you kind of side shuffle around all the desks to get around to sit down. And there's Matt going through his spiel and we're talking back and forth. And
we had 1, 2, 3, 4. We had seven people in that 10 by 30 igloo cooler.
It was even that big. I don't. With a little window rattler in it, just keeping it cold. And, so it was definitely the beginnings of what they were doing. And I know they hadn't been in that office that long, I don't think, at that time.
No.
And we developed that office into a nicer place and then moved here. But it was it also seemed like there's maybe 2 different groups of project managers that kind of did their things their ways and their ways. And since then, I think we've really worked on becoming more of a team and more of a process that we follow. That way we can keep track of things and kind of have the Reisinger way of doing things.
Yeah, I get the sense. And when I first interviewed, it was sort of a point of pride that we didn't have project managers, we had builders. Like each project manager, like you're saying, was just an individual builder, all working under the same name, doing things individually, but together. Yeah. And obviously they were successful. I mean, the company's still around and it worked really well. But I think, as time has progressed, like, would you say that now there's a lot more collaboration between the project managers and versus being an individual?
Yeah. I think what's awesome about the job is that we are allowed to be individuals too. And I think that is important. Yeah. I think we should have a certain standard, but we also don't want robots that just, this is what we do. Because when it comes to like critical thinking of how we're going to fix this problem, especially in these buildings that we work on, you can't just refer back to what did we do last time? Because a lot of times there was no last time. This is the first time any of us have ever done it.
Yeah, that's right.
So you want to have people that can think individually and are builders. But then there's also a certain amount of standards of, especially with this building science, the waterproofing and the things that we know through experience have not worked in the past, and we don't want them just let a cowboy go out there and, we've already had a window leak because we did it that way.
Right.
We want to learn from that and be able to not have that again. Yeah, and that only works if we work as a team and learn from each other and follow those guidelines.
Yeah, share that knowledge between.
That's over time, the longer a home builder has had history of working with clients and architects and building projects, they develop a sort of an intellectual bank of knowledge, or let's say corporate lore, company lore about what has worked and what hasn't. And in the context of what you're saying, that it's great to have individuals who can think for themselves and solve problems, but that works best in the paradigm of sharing the information and gleaning those little tidbits from other people who've had similar experiences. So you probably share more than you get because you've been here a long time and you have hands-on knowledge of how those things work.
I've seen a lot of myself and other people have failures of things and learn from, and that's what we're doing. We always, the goal is each home we build is better than the last because we've learned a little bit, not saying it's bad. I mean, the house there might be nothing wrong with that, but it can be better. And we kind of learn
for sure
that it can be better.
Yeah. Given that we do have these individuals, everyone sort of manages projects differently, and they have their own strengths and weaknesses. What would you say, what do you enjoy most about the building process and being a project manager?
The brainstorming to figure out a problem. I like talking it out with a couple people about just whatever the issue is. Like, we can figure this out back and forth. I'm like a big believer in there's no stupid questions or ideas, no stupid ideas, because even though an idea might be silly, I'll still throw it out there because it might just change the way we're thinking about it.
Absolutely.
Right? So the solution might have nothing to do with what I just said, but it might just get us out of the box of thinking this is how we do it. And no, that's stupid, but now that I think about it, what about doing this,
Yeah,
And
and that is such a big part of our job as project managers is problem solving.
yeah, and it could be a design problem solve. It could be, anything. But I think that's my favorite part, is just trying to figure out ideas of how to get around a problem or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
And I think, that is a skill that you develop. It's a skill that you maybe innately have, but definitely the experience, like we were just talking about, of these failures and successes over time sort of help you then build that knowledge base of being able to solve a problem. You're like, oh, you know what? This is similar to a problem I had 6 years ago on this house. Not the same, but this is what we did there. Maybe we can implement that solution in
Yeah.
some way.
And I think it helped me when I first started because I didn't have any professional experience. That I tried to go to every project that was, it didn't matter who the project manager was. I tried to go see what's going on, and just being around it and surrounding yourself in it, you start seeing the issues, other issues. And we were pretty good about continually having meetings with everybody to discuss our problems and our situations. And that's all to help out the next time, right? Like, it's a brainstorming session, and next time it might not be my problem, but Daniel had a problem on his project. Well, next time it comes up, oh, I remember how we fixed it, or what not to do, at least.
Yeah.
Try something new. So
I think something great too that we do, we have these bi-monthly, no, twice a month project manager meetings.
every other week, yeah.
Yeah. And that's a chance where we each kind of go through our projects and the progress, and we have a chance to talk about these sort of things and share it real time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have noticed that probably more than most project managers, I won't say all, Luke seems to be familiar with other project managers' projects. It's like when you have an extra hour, you feel compelled to go look at other people's projects just to see what's going on. You might see something interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy it. If there's certain times where you're busy doing other stuff, you just don't have time to get out and do stuff. But like just the other day, I was down at our Five Oaks project looking at that, because it's just, to me, it's interesting, and it's, I'm not there to criticize or look anything. I just look, and if I see something, and I'll talk it through just to get ideas or brainstorm with problems. Over there, there was some stuff I was looking at. I was like, well, have we thought about this or that? And that's cool. And we're always doing something different. At every project is something new. So we're doing, polished concrete over there, which I don't know if we've really done
Not to that level.
On that style.
Yeah.
And so it's like something new to look at. And then it's something else you put in your arsenal when you're talking to a client that the process behind, because you didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to experience it. You didn't have to order it. You didn't have to do anything, but you can still get from that just to look at it and know it's available.
And the value of having a fresh set of eyes on a project is pretty large, because, Cam and Emma and I are on that project on a daily basis, and, you can't see the forest for the trees. Like you see the same things every day. Well, having someone come visit the project, once a month even, with a fresh set of eyes, all of a sudden, like, you had questions about the drainage that we maybe hadn't even thought about. I think that's pretty cool. It was weird when I started. It was like in the middle of COVID. We weren't even in the office at all. And so for the first couple years, I had no idea what any of the other project managers were doing.
Yeah.
But it is one of my favorite parts of the project, is going to see everyone's jobs.
Right. One of my mentors, when I first started, used this expression about doing exactly that. He said, when you've been working on a job for a long time as a project manager, you have tunnel vision. You're looking at what got done yesterday and what's going on today.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't see the bigger picture because you're so used to the image that you block out any things that might need to be in your so having that second set of eyes, somebody's looking at the whole thing, not having been there before, and it's really helpful. We need to encourage that. I think that's something that.
And it can go both ways, right? You can be overlooking things because of tunnel vision, and you can also be like fixated on something because of tunnel vision.
Right.
I know my own like personal stuff. Sometimes like I'll be sitting there looking at something, and it's like, what am I going to do about this? This little nick in my cabinet door, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Do I redo the door or whatever? And then I'm like, okay, I'm going home. And then you come back the next day ready to do it, and like I can't even find where I was, obsessed about. I'm looking for it. I'm like, you know what? Maybe it wasn't that big a deal. I can't even find it now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, speaking of that, let's talk about that a little bit. You, like many of us, but maybe to a more extreme, have built your own house.
Yeah, we just finished up moved in about a year ago.
And is that, you've remodeled that previous house that you talked about a little while ago. Is this something you've always wanted to do? It was always the plan, or just kind of?
It was always a goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it much better than remodeling.
Yeah.
Especially remodeling.
So this is
stuff.
ground up,
brand new, virgin lot from the ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was fun. I liked the fact, there's remodels can be, or in building too. I mean, there's a whole different scopes of remodels. And my first remodel, I think I moved in the house and I had $6,000 to my name. So that little remodel goes a little different.
Yeah.
Right? It's skipping around, just trying to patch holes and figure it out, and never really dealing with some of the issues that the house actually has, just because it's, it's not there. Got paid, and I can put half my backsplash up and wait for our next paycheck or whatever.
Yeah.
But always dealing with what was previously there and not having the funds to just kind of like start over and rip it down and go. It's always frustrating and tough, because you never kind of get to where you want to get. You always kind of get almost there, but never really where you want to get.
Yeah.
So building from the scratch up, it just felt like, man, I get to do what I want. If I want to spend more money here, it's fine. If I don't want to spend more money here, it's, and plus I knew a lot more from working here than I did before. As far as performance of a home and all that.
But you also, in this one, I mean, you had the ability to really get involved in the design part of it, right? So you had a lot of input. You didn't design it yourself.
No,
you had an architect. Is that right?
I had an architect, and he was doing it like a side job for me.
Yeah.
And he was total collaboration. I mean, he'd give me the ideas. I'd say what I didn't like, my wife, and we'd go through and back and forth. And I'd say it's probably 75%, maybe probably more his, but it's still a good amount of percentage of what we wanted and, our input. Yeah. And it turned out, I mean, we've been in it for a year, and it's all we could ask for. I mean, it had the same problems as a lot of builds. It got a little probably too big for us.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of, we wanted to start out at a certain size, and then it's probably 10 to 20% bigger, and then at the end we're like, well, what do we cut? And we're like, I love it all.
You want all of it, yeah.
We're not cutting anything.
Yeah. I mean, that's every project.
It's easy to grow, it's hard to shrink.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a place long term for my family. I've got a just now turned 8 and 6-year-old girls, and we're going to, I mean, at the minimum, we're going to be there until they finish high school. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
All things
that's great
staying equal, and then we'll see from there.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. We talked a little bit about your favorite part of the job and your experience. Do you have anything that's that's been a challenge, a consistent challenge that we run into or you run into that kind of is a struggle to get past that you think we can help work on or improve?
Probably just because it's fresh in my mind, because the projects we're working on are at that state. It's really dealing with the stuff that's out of your control with government entities, cities. We need power. Everything's ready for it, and there's nothing you can do. We're just waiting for the linemen to show up, and it's 20 days before they show up, and there's just nothing you can. There's nothing you can do. You can't. You get it. Your inspection's done as soon as you can, and then you just
hurry up and wait.
Then you're at their mercy, and you have to hurry up, because the longer it takes you to get to that point, the longer it takes them to get there. But still, it's like from the point we had final, everything's safe to go and everything, 20 days is a long time to wait. And you can't really do anything about it. Just wait.
The way that the city has the permit flow put together, there is no way to condense that timeline. You can't get ahead and do work while you're waiting on that. You have to do X,
to get
Y, and Z.
To that approval, you have to be at this stage of the house. And the typical, to me, like the typical permits or the inspections as you go through, they ebb and flow. It doesn't really slow you up too much, because you can continue to do other work. But that end stuff, it just seems like whether it's getting a water tap in or a permanent power put in, it's just stuff you can't control, and it just takes its time, and it's frustrating sometimes.
Yeah.
I've had it happen a few times where it's just like clients, what are we doing? What are we doing? It's like, there's calling, and that's all we can do. Just call, put Tim on him, and then Tim gets after him.
Tim gets after
him. And then it makes it worse.
Well, then you get like, they'll show up and they're like, oh, we don't have enough wire. And it's like, what do you mean you don't have enough wire? I mean, that's what you're here to do. Like,
you're the wire guys.
Little stuff like that. So you kind of have this, oh, we're finally getting it done. And then, disappointment. And who knows how long, but it all gets done. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And I agree. To me, that's the most stressful phase of any project, is that interaction with entities outside of our control, that the regulatory and code issues,
and you just can't do anything about it. It's
there's
like it's
nothing
out
you
of
can
your
do.
control.
Right. And I think that it's gotten better.
Yeah.
I will say in the last 15, 20 years, it's better. It's more complicated
Yeah.
than it used to be. But I think that in our case, the municipalities around the area have gotten a little more responsive.
Yeah. I think, unfortunately, though, too, as the system has gotten better, we as builders and our clients have gotten more demanding.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still kind of 2 weeks 15 years ago was no big deal.
Yeah.
2 weeks now is an eternity,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah. Things are so expensive and the cost of money is so high that just, a day in our world can cost the client thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So one other thing I want to touch on that I think is sort of interesting in your experience here, and that you've had the opportunity to work with other project managers on the team on the same project as sort of a tag team. And that's sort of an interesting dynamic. In most cases, our projects have one project manager. Sometimes it takes two project managers, and that requires you to sort of set up a unique dynamic and find the skill sets that each of you have and the strengths and weaknesses shared. How has that been for you?
I personally enjoy it because like I said, I like the brainstorming, and so you always have somebody to like just bounce something off of. But it comes with challenges too, because sometimes somebody's communicating with somebody and you're not involved in it, or it's easy to have a tendency to be like, oh, she's handling this and this and this, and you kind of you quit paying attention to that so much, and all of a sudden, like, now you need to answer. You're like, now I've got to go back and see where we're really at, because she was handling it, so I thought there's no real point for me to get involved, and then you need to. But I mean, I enjoy it. It kind of is. You just kind of. It starts out, and you kind of just play it by ear almost. You just kind of start feeling each other out. You kind of let the project develop, and you just kind of fall into your little groove of, I'm doing this, you're doing this,
right.
And we work together, and it seems to work out pretty well.
Yeah, as long as you've got that defined division of labor, and each of you understands what tasks are.
And it helps if you like the person, and you're, it's not like, willing to like
that. Yeah, that's true.
I'm willing to talk to any of the one I've worked with. I'll call them or just sit in the office and we'll spend 20 minutes talking about nothing to do with work. And that sounds silly, wasting time, but it's also just, you have a relationship where you're not like hiding something from them, or you're not embarrassed that you didn't do something or this. It's like
it's building that
about
rapport,
it. And you can help each other out. And if they are in a bind, you're just help them out, and they'll do the same for you.
And we recognize that it takes unique personalities to be able to do that. Again, home builders, project managers, people in our industries, we all have egos. I don't know that many of us would be here if we didn't have an ego and we were really proud of what we do and what we know. And that's fine. That helps us be better.
Yeah.
But sharing that on a given project and taking and giving credit is a big challenge, and I think you've done a really good job at that.
Yeah, I agree.
I kind of look at it more as like let's get credit for like us, like the company.
Yeah.
I don't need individual credit. Just let's make Risinger builds an awesome home, and just be proud that you're part of that, and that's good enough. Tell people, be proud when you say I work for Risinger, because we do good things.
And that's shown by happy clients, which is what we strive for. But I think too, going back to the personality part of it, part of our job is recognizing when we do team people up, who do we think is going to work well together. But also it has to be the appropriate job and actually need two project managers. And I think that sort of varies as well, depending on what phase it's in. So in some instances, you've got two project managers working on the same project full time. And then other instances, as the phase of the project progresses, maybe one of the project managers can focus more on another project.
Like 80-20 type thing.
So, but I think it really is important for us to manage that as well, to make sure that the people that work together are compatible.
Yeah.
Cool. Can we go back to your house just for a minute?
Anything.
Something that I think is really...
Can I point out that Daniel is also working on his house, and he's actually picking Luke's brain about...
That's an idea.
I'm the only one from the company that I've allowed to come take a look.
His house is amazing, by the way. It absolutely is amazing. But going back to sort of the beginning of the conversation, when you made the comment about, well, I mean, I've got two hands, and if somebody else can do it, I can do it. I don't know that everybody has that mentality, and I think it's really admirable. But where you have put that into practice, that I think is absolutely amazing, is you built your own cabinets for your house, full kitchen, all the cabinets, and they're beautiful. That's the first time you've done that? Like, how did you watch a video? Like, how does that just happen?
The first time to that scale, I've done little things, but videos and just time and
that you did do the design work yourself,
I
right?
did all that. I kind of I'll have a rough idea, and I kind of let myself get into it, and that kind of develops as the style I want. It was not going to be that style of, of course, and I have a tendency to overdo it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I'm going to do it. So instead, I'm going to go do inset cabinets for my first try and stuff. Yeah. It's like, that was probably a mistake, thinking back about it. Should have just done some overlays and be done with it. But it turned out great. Yeah. It's time consuming. I mean, I'd be working there from, come home from work, get out there at 6 o'clock and stay till 11 o'clock. Yeah. Sometimes spend the night out there on a cot during the weekends. Yeah. Just so I can get going. It's a lot of time, but I enjoy that. So it's a lot of people, do something fun. It's like, to me, that kind of fun. Yeah. At the beginning, especially. And then at the end, you're like, okay, I'm ready to be done. But yeah, just, previous knowledge of how things go together. Yeah. And videos. Well,
they look amazing, and I'm really astonished at what you've done. It's great.
You save, if you can do it, saves a lot of money.
Saves a lot of money.
I mean, I don't know how much that cabinet package would have cost to order for my kitchens, but I think I did it for $4 or $5 grand in materials, and then labor was nothing, and then.
So it wasn't just an excuse to be able to buy new tools.
Well, that's,
No, actually, we use our tools.
No, some. But I had this idea in my mind. I was like, I'll budget this much for cabinets, and I'll do it myself, and I'm going to get a big drum sander or something. Yeah. And then it comes down to spend the money on it, and you don't want to. Yeah. Because it's like, I don't have to have it, and then it was going to be my excuse to kind of build out my shop a little better. Yeah. When the rubber meets the road, you're still spending the money. So whatever. And it's when you're working on a tighter budget, my family does fine, but we're not, we're probably in a neighborhood where we probably don't deserve to be.
It's a gorgeous neighborhood.
It's great, but it's only because we were able to do this. Yeah. And you're always nervous about being able to finish. So even though you have a budget and you're still in it, you always think, well, I don't want to get too tight not to be able to finish my house. Sure. So you always I'd rather end up with a little extra at the end just in case I need, I'd hate to get 3/4 of the way done and be out of money. And then now what do we do? Yeah. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's probably the toughest thing about building your own house. And we've noticed that even recently building spec homes, that when you're in it and you are faced with the question of, should I do this or should I do that? And everybody has the compulsion, especially the way we do things, is to always do it best. Yeah. Not just better, but best. And it's really easy to get off budget and off track. Mm-hmm. And then wonder, how in the world did I spend this much money? And it's because you always chose the best way to do things and the best products to use, and didn't do due diligence in consuming what the budget should.
That's why we asked the question, is it worth it?
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to realize too that we're building homes, especially in this company, to a higher standard as far as performance, way above code or way above what most people are doing. And I had to realize that, yes, I'm not being able to do that, but it's still way better than most. Right? Yeah, I wasn't able to do the whole metal ducted HVAC system. We had to do rigid duct board, but I'd rather done the metal. But you know what? That's a place where I saved 10
for sure,
or whatever.
Right? Yeah,
and still way better than a bunch of flex ducts going through.
Absolutely,
that's right. So it's kind of like you're a little bit of compromise, but it's a fun experience. It's hard on your family though. I mean, we had to move out from our house that my kids had always lived in and go into a temporary, rental home for the year. And then even worse, into like a small garage apartment because we still needed 3 months and all this, that kind of stuff. So it is very demanding on the family and my time not being there, but we work together as a family. So they come over on the weekends and spend the time together. And it's an experience that we'll all remember.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. All right. Well, I want to ask you one last question that we ask everybody that comes and sits in the hot seat. And the question is, if you weren't doing this, if you weren't a project manager at a home building company, what would you be doing? And it can be fantastical.
No, I mean, I'll be realistic. I think I'd be doing something in homes, real estate involved, something. I always thought it'd be fun to kind of develop ranches into something. I don't know what that would mean as far as like taking a piece of property and making it, a more desirable piece of property and selling it, or developing it into a small neighborhood, a one street neighborhood type thing. I think would be kind of fun. I don't know where I mean, it's kind of hard to say. I've been here so long that it's kind of been like, I don't know what I'd be doing, but I have a feeling I've always been interested in real estate one way or the other, selling it or just getting involved in some way. So something to do with homes, land.
For me, I kind of say it's hard to imagine not in some way being involved in homes.
Or maybe just working a 9 to 5 and flipping homes on the side. It could have been kind of that.
I thought you would say flipping burgers.
No. But, it's kind of my first house I bought. I was going to flip that house. It's going to be in and out in 2 or 3 years. Stay there for 2 years, get, so your taxes and all that are done. Yeah. And 13 years later, 2 kids and a wife and still in this, the spot. Worked out great. But it's just kind of funny how that all works out. You have, things change. And,
things change, plans change for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Luke, for sitting down with us today and
great.
letting us get to know you a little better and talking about the company.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's it for another episode of Work in Process. Thanks for listening. If you've got a question, a topic suggestion, or want to start a project with us, send an email to hello@risingerbuild.com.
You can also find us on Instagram at risingerbuild_ATX or on YouTube by searching Risinger Build. We'd love to hear from you.